In many novelizations of Warhammer 40,000, Space Marines are portrayed as superhuman warriors worth 1,000 soldiers. Yet in games, video and tabletop alike, the regular Marine is easily wiped out, unless you are playing Warhammer 40k BOLTGUN. That's the type of game that makes you feel like a true Space Marine, and suddenly your pizza-stained t-shirt turns into tactical armor.
Huh? The enemy of man cannot stand before me.
Warhammer 40k shooters are always a bit tricky. They build upon a great foundation of lore, but then often squander the potential with lackluster gameplay, or have great core gameplay, but just a lack of content. Looking at you there, Darktide. And then on the other side, you have 40k BOLTGUN. It avoids the pitfalls of 40k games by picking a niche and then filling it really well with all the ups and downs that come with the style. The modern DooM clone, the boomer shooter riding the retro wave staked upon an over-the-top setting based on Games Workshop's flagship franchise. You are no Red Hunter, you are a humble veteran of the Ultramarines, yet you do the bidding of the Inquisition. And the Inquisitor requires you to purge demons and chaos hordes on a forge world which has fallen to the experiments conducted upon it, which called forth the hordes of chaos from the depth of the warp. So all in all, a very standard 40k story. Upon planetfall, your squad is wiped out, leaving the mission to you alone, only to be accompanied by a servo skull occasionally guiding the way and pointing out really obvious things. Yes, thank you, I'm aware this bridge hanging upside down is not normal. Non-Euclidean geometry ahead. Observing this environment, 40k fans will have noticed the story takes you out of the mortal realm and into places populated by inhabitants of the Immaterium. You will battle Chaos Sorcerers, demons great and small, cultists and Chaos Space Marines. And then the inevitable boss, who, once defeated, will be added to the roster of enemies you will encounter regularly, giving BOLTGUN a constant power creep until you reach the latter third of the game. BOLTGUN is split into 3 chapters, with a good handful of levels each. It will provide you with a good 6 to 10 hours of fun, depending on your playstyle. At the end of each level, you will get an overview screen, giving you the stats of your mission, as it was the style of the day, and this kind of encourages you to try again, in a harder difficulty, trying to destroy all enemies and find all hidden secrets. If you enjoy this style of gameplay, great, because the number one thing in this game is the basic gameplay. Storytelling takes a back seat in favor of fast-paced shooting, sprinting and slashing. The story is conveyed to you by pixel art cutscenes, pretty nice but yes, very simple. In the beginning, the game sends you on your way only armed with a chainsword, your trusty close combat weapon, ideal for slashing through regular enemies and delivering the final blow to the big guys in style. But no worries, you will receive the eponymous bolter without big delay. The bolter is a truly classic science fiction weapon. A fully automatic gun firing rocket-propelled projectiles, pretty much ripping everything apart. The bolter is not merely a proxy for the boring starting pistol. No, all throughout the game it keeps its relevance. In particular when paired with one of the pickups, granting you much more powerful types of ammunition. The Deathwatch Kill Team army list says hello. Other Warhammer staples such as a shotgun, plasma gun, heavy bolter and melter are available. And let me be a bit pedantic, in the context of the game, the trailer makes it out to be a fictional game from the 90s, there are weapons that shouldn't be there, like the Volkite Cleaver. If I'm not mistaken, this weapon entered into lore around the early 2010s with the Horus Heresy books.
Stifle yourself! This marvel of the dark age of technology shall not be insulted.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, irregardless, it is incredibly fun. Just like the grenade launcher, firing sticky grenades at enemies that explode with a slight delay, or that never gets boring. Step 1, fire grenade. Step 2, taunt them. Step 3, boom.
Your gods have forsaken you, traitor.
From all the weapons in the Space Marine arsenal, I am only missing a las cannon. But no worries, you do still pack some heavy punch. Just like in the tabletop, enemies have a toughness level, and your weapons have a strength level. This indicates which weapon will be effective against which enemy. And of course you can fire your melter gun on Nurglings. It's just as fun and just as effective as a bolter, if not more. As we are talking about a boomer shooter, health regeneration and other nonsense like that isn't a thing here. You pick up health and armor in form of crates and pickups dropped by slain enemies.
I do not require extra armor. I merely gather contempt for the wounds the enemy tries to bring upon me.
Yes, of course. The game doesn't feature armor, it's contempt, often represented by a shield. The game leads you through various interesting biomes. These plants here look awfully familiar. Though dark corridors or gigantic halls in Imperial styles do dominate the landscape. In these levels, you'll be traveling from action bubble or arena to arena to arena to arena. Once you enter, you will be locked in with trash mobs and a boss until the boss is defeated. The space in between these battles is filled with more weaker enemies and the occasional platforming part, and true to the boomer shooter fashion, a constant search for colored key cards, or just keys in this case. This is probably the game's biggest weakness. If you do not enjoy this very classic style of gameplay, this can become rather boring after a while, so I suggest playing this game in medium portions. Boltgun is for the 40k fan that likes the over-the-top brutal action and has a heart for old-school shooters from a generation before Half-Life and Unreal. And talking about Unreal, Boltgun is powered by the Unreal Engine 4 and grants you a lot of modification options, even how retro you want your game to look like. It certainly fits the feeling of the time, and this is not only the case for the visuals and gameplay, but also music. The game comes with a fitting soundtrack. You know, thinking about it, it is really a missed opportunity to not include some tunes from the old Games Workshop record label, Warhammer Records. Yeah, that was a thing. Ever heard of Saxon or Bolt Thrower? The music would fit really well. I guess I can't play it for copyright reasons, but check it out. While we are talking about missed opportunities, the game would have been even better if they had occasionally tried to give you a bit more to do than finding a keycard and flip a switch. But yeah, I get it, they would have probably strayed too far from the classic style. Even though they did stray apart from it because, well, it's Warhammer and that does grant you some leeway. I'm pretty sure sprinting wasn't really a thing back then. Irregardless, the game certainly gave me that real Space Marine feeling. Being more powerful than most of your opponents, and even great demons can just instantly snuff you out, because you are protected by power armor and are generally just a superhuman. For fans that do remember the old days of 40k and younger players who can enjoy a trip back to a time they didn't witness themselves, I say give it a go. This is certainly a great FPS.
As this content is sanctioned by the Codex Astartes, you may like and subscribe for future content. If you are a true loyal subject to the Emperor, you may prove it by joining the Patreon. Imperial citizens who joined got to witness this audiovisual transmission first. These loyal Imperials are Lone Wolf, Zandlaris, Wrapped in Glass, Cookie, Theto, Revolve 556, Plasma, Tome, Rainbow Flash, Chris Lever, Strange Module, Cop Fighter, Inter, Charles Surrett, Sir K, Ram Gilama, Whiskey, Christoph, MTD, Hub, Leggy Boy, Daniel, Fralem, Crony XS, Veovio, iMentrix, Armand Oziloco, Rolling Rock, Sidonai, and Bobcat Racer. May the Emperor protect you. You can't imagine how tempting this was to do the entire video like this. So, see you guys next time. Until then, have a nice day, and as always, goodbye and guten Tag.